Hey everybody, I'm Pastor Daniel Humbert, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about spiritual gifts. And in particular, I'd love to visit with you about two spiritual gifts that are sometimes known as sign gifts. In other words, by the doing of these gifts, you know what they are. And these particular gifts are the gift of speaking in tongues and interpretation of tongues. And it's really important that we recognize in Scripture that both of these gifts go together. You should never have somebody who has the gift of speaking in tongues in a public setting without somebody who also has the gift of interpretation of tongues to edify the body. So speaking in tongues is really an unintelligible language, something that we wouldn't normally recognize, but somehow has been gifted to people for one of two reasons. One is in their private prayer time, they may speak to God or communicate with God in this unintelligible language, but God, of course, can understand all language. Occasionally, somebody might have the spiritual gift of speaking in tongues in a public setting to help the community better understand how God is communicating with them. But as you can well imagine, that can't happen unless somebody also has the spiritual gift of interpretation of tongues. Paul, the apostle, is very clear in 1 Corinthians chapter 14 that these two gifts go together. And in the public setting, at least, no one ought to be speaking in tongues without somebody also helping the community of faith to understand it by interpreting it. So you can well imagine these are very unique and very distinctive gifts used in very distinctive ways at very unique times in the life of the church. If you'd like to know more about these or other spiritual gifts, I want to invite you to go to tmumc.org/gifted, where you can take the Gifted to Serve Discovery and learn about the wonderful ways that God has gifted